Get your act together. You know the problem. Shake out of it. What's the world thinking when they look at us? Setting up the fiscal cliff, a man-made, Congress-made challenge, and not looking like they're really headed. Maybe they are today, but they've been really screwing around with this thing. What do you think of us?
Actually, they look at us and they think we're going to work it out. They've been here before.
And to put it differently, they can't believe we will screw up.
Exactly. They're kind of thinking about the debt ceiling debate. I mean, they're not following this hour to hour like we are. And they remember the last time we were in a situation.
Well, last time we got downgraded from a good bond rating to a not good rating.
That's true, but it didn't affect our bond yields at all. It didn't seem to have much economic impact. And so people are just looking at us figuring, oh, those crazy Americans, they'll work it out at the last minute. And the ironic thing.
Well, what they say if they get up January 2nd or 3rd after the New Year, seeing we didn't work it.
Well, I think they'll be rudely surprised. However, by then, it's my hope that towards later December, we'll actually have.
Well, I agree with that.
A clear.
I just want to convince people on the right. I think it's the president's job to convince the little slower learners on the Republican side that this is serious business. And the real deal now is if you know what's going to happen in January, there's going to be a January. We know that. This is December. There will be a January. You want to be in January when we haven't done this thing, and you're Republican, and you're hanging on to the rich people, looking out for them? Do you want to be that guy or that woman? I don't. Your thoughts?
I mean,
if you would blame the Republicans then, mostly.
Well, I mean, of course, I think you have to blame the Republicans in this because their position on tax rates is untenable.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about raising taxes like France to 75% to the top rate. We're talking about 39.6, but let's be honest, with other loopholes and other deductions, it's going to be a lot lower. At the end of the day, you cannot deal with the fiscal situation this country faces without raising taxes, raising revenues.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I know, because we're only bringing in 17% of the GDP
Correct.
and spending 24.
15 and a half, right?
Well, I got a new number set. Are you sure that's the recent one?
Yeah, that's the most recent one. But anyway, we're certainly
There's a big difference.
We're not bringing it up for everything. But look, the ironic thing, and what in many ways makes us sort of different from Greece in this regard, I think a lot of the dysfunctionality is alarmingly familiar. But if we go over the cliff, what we actually do is resolve too much of our debt situation all at once. I mean, unlike Greece, whose fiscal profligacy has them where they are today, interestingly, if we actually go over the cliff, we get on a budget path that's far more sustainable than the current one. We just do it much too quickly.
Except that if we go over the cliff, and given how tenuous this economic environment is right now, I mean, the message that it sends to business leaders, employers, let alone the American people, is this place is not only ungovernable, it is dysfunction beyond dysfunction.
A friend of mine is a wealthy California guy, a liberal, said, if you think they're going to trust you after you missed the January 1st deadline, do you think they're going to trust you to do it that week? There'll be no trust. They'll say, if you can't meet your own deadline, why should you meet anybody else's?
And the thing about this is, as I said earlier, the markets, whether it's Europe or American, are pricing in a solution.
That's what I think.
You see it really quite clearly.
And then somebody was on McMahon the other day was wrong. They're not pricing in a failure, they're pricing in a solution because they think they're grown-ups in Washington. Thank you, Chris Kafinas, for that report from Greece. Chad Bernstein, as always, thank you. When we return, let me finish with the ghost of fiscal cliff yet to come. When you see this story, you're watching Hardball, the place for politics.
Have you lost money in the stock market? Were you misled about the safety of your investments? 1-800-STOCK-LOSS recovers money for investors through arbitration. Yes, you can recover money lost with stockbrokers through arbitration. We'll hold your brokerage house responsible for losses. 800-STOCK-LOSS only gets paid after you recover your money. That's 1-800-STOCK, as in stock market, loss, or 1-800-333-4567. Act now.
This will hit Americans harder than anything since the Great Depression. Over the past 26 years, our research firm has guided over 1 million investors. We predicted 5 major events over the past decade. In 2002, we started advising our clients to buy gold-related investments when gold traded under $300 an ounce. In 2006, we begged investors to get out of the housing market before it plunged. We were among the first to predict the recession